They vanish without a goodbye. No explanation, no closure. You rebuilt yourself in the silence they left behind. So tell me this, why is it that on Valentine's Day, the ghost suddenly remembers your name? You're not crazy. You didn't imagine the connection. And no, this message isn't about love. It's about why absence suddenly panics when the world celebrates closeness. They don't fear love in the way people think. They don't wake up scared of romance, commitment, or connection. What they fear is exposure. Valentine's Day isn't a celebration to them, it's a spotlight. It's the one day where distance stops working as a defense because intimacy becomes unavoidable. Everywhere they look, people are publicly choosing each other. Messages aren't private. Affection isn't subtle. Love becomes loud. And for someone whose survival strategy is invisibility, loud love feels like threat. On normal days, they can convince themselves they're fine. That detachment is strength. That independence equals peace. They can drown out emotion with routine, distraction, logic, productivity, but Valentine's Day interrupts that illusion. It forces comparison. It turns absence into a question. Not a quiet one, but one that echoes. Why am I alone today? Why does this feel heavier now than it did yesterday? Why does the world seem to be moving together while I'm standing still? This is where panic starts, not emotional panic, but identity panic. Avoidants rely on the belief that distance keeps them safe, but Valentine's Day confronts them with evidence that closeness didn't destroy others. That connection didn't collapse the people they see, laughing, holding hands, choosing presence. And that's destabilizing, because it suggests the problem might not be love. It might be avoidance. That realization doesn't come as insight. It comes as discomfort, as irritation, as restlessness, as a sudden urge to check old messages, old photos, old conversations they swore didn't matter. Your memory doesn't return gently, it arrives with weight, with contrast, with the unsettling thought that what they walked away from wasn't chaos. It was closeness they didn't know how to hold. They don't come back because they miss romance. They come back because Valentine's Day removes their emotional camouflage. It shows them what life looks like when people don't run. And suddenly running doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like isolation with good excuses. That's when the past feels safer than the present. That's when reaching out feels easier than sitting alone with questions they can't answer. And here's the part most people misunderstand. This isn't manipulation, it's exposure. Their coping strategy stops working under collective intimacy. And when the world celebrates connection, the one person who once felt like home becomes impossible to forget. You didn't disappear to make a point. You didn't go silent to prove strength. You simply stopped fighting for space that never wanted to hold you. And that silence did something your words never could. It removed predictability. Avoidants depend on emotional patterns. They stay calm when they know where someone is, how available they'll be, how much effort it takes to pull them back. Your presence once fit into that structure. Your absence didn't. When you stopped reaching, the dynamic shifted. Not dramatically, quietly. And quiet is dangerous to someone who controls closeness through distance. Because silence doesn't reassure. Silence doesn't explain. Silence doesn't chase. It just exists. And in that space, they were forced to confront something unfamiliar. You weren't orbiting them anymore. Avoidants often interpret pursuit as safety, not because they enjoy being chased, but because it confirms control. If someone keeps reaching, it means the emotional door is still open on their terms. When that stops, uncertainty enters. And uncertainty activates anxiety they don't know how to regulate. They don't feel abandoned in the dramatic sense. They feel displaced, unanchored, as if the emotional environment shifted without warning. Your silence rewrote the story they told themselves. They expected you to wait, to linger, to remain emotionally accessible even in absence. When you didn't, they had to revise their assumptions. Maybe you weren't as dependent as they believed. Maybe you weren't as replaceable as they assumed. Maybe you weren't waiting at all. And that realization stings, not because they lost you, but because they lost control of the narrative. Your silence forced them to imagine a version of you that exists independently, a version that adapts, that heals, that doesn't need resolution from someone who never offered it. They come back because silence invites imagination, and imagination fills gaps with fear. Fear that you moved on, fear that you no longer need them, fear that they underestimated your strength. Avoidants don't return when you beg. They return when they can't predict you anymore. Loneliness hits differently when it's reflected back at you. On ordinary days, being alone can be framed as choice, as peace, as autonomy. But Valentine's Day removes that framing. It puts solitude in contrast with togetherness, and contrast creates awareness. When loneliness becomes visible, it becomes heavier. Avoidants are skilled at private detachment. What they struggle with is public absence. Seeing couples doesn't make them miss love. It makes them notice what they lack. And noticing is uncomfortable. It forces internal comparison. It raises questions they usually suppress. Not emotional questions, existential ones. Am I actually content or just disconnected? Did I choose solitude or did I default to it? That's when nostalgia creeps in. Not as longing, but as familiarity. You represent a time when connection existed without demand, when closeness didn't require performance, when someone knew them without pushing too hard. That memory feels grounding in contrast to the hollow quiet of public loneliness. They don't miss the relationship. They miss the version of themselves that existed within it, the one that felt human, anchored, less guarded. Valentine's Day magnifies that loss because it showcases what they opted out of. And when loneliness becomes visible, memory becomes refuge. Reaching out becomes a way to soften the contrast, to remind themselves they're still capable of connection, that they aren't completely removed from intimacy. It's not about rekindling. It's about reassurance. Proof that the door wasn't permanently closed. You offered something rare, emotional safety without intrusion. You didn't demand access. You didn't weaponize vulnerability. You didn't try to fix them. You simply stayed present. And that presence became a foundation they didn't know how to protect. Avoidants often mistake stability for stagnation. When something doesn't feel chaotic, they assume it lacks depth. But what they were really experiencing was nervous system calm, a sense of being held without being consumed. And that kind of safety feels unfamiliar to people raised on emotional unpredictability. They didn't leave because it was wrong. They left because it was unfamiliar, because safety felt like exposure, because being seen without pressure challenged their defenses. And when they walked away, they told themselves they were escaping something heavy. Only later did they realize they had abandoned something grounding. Valentine's Day brings that clarity, not as insight, but as longing. They remember how your presence regulated them, how life felt steadier around you, how silence with you wasn't empty, it was comfortable. That memory contrasts sharply with their current detachment. They don't come back ready to change. They come back seeking regulation, seeking the calm they lost, seeking the emotional home they didn't know how to maintain. And that's the danger, because familiarity can feel like progress even when nothing has shifted internally. They've survived by telling themselves a story, that independence equals strength, that closeness limits freedom, that needing no one is maturity. This narrative protects them from vulnerability. But Valentine's Day doesn't respect personal mythology. It exposes it. When love is celebrated collectively, independence stops feeling empowering. It starts feeling isolating. And the story they've rehearsed begins to crack. Not because it's false, but because it's incomplete. They realize independence without connection feels hollow. That crack lets doubt in. Doubt about past decisions. Doubt about leaving. Doubt about whether they misunderstood what they had with you. And doubt is dangerous to someone who relies on certainty to avoid emotion. They don't suddenly regret everything. They question one thing: was walking away actually strength, or was it fear disguised as control? That question doesn't need an answer to hurt. It just needs to exist. And once it does, reaching out becomes a way to quiet it. This moment isn't about their return. It's about your response. Because how you hold yourself now defines whether this cycle repeats or ends. If you rush to reassure, you restore the old dynamic. If you stay grounded, you introduce a new one. Avoidants are drawn to stability they don't control. When you don't collapse into relief, when you don't over-explain your growth, when you don't reopen the door without boundaries, you disrupt their expectations. You become unfamiliar again, but this time in strength. This isn't punishment, it's alignment. You're no longer negotiating for presence. You're evaluating consistency. And that shift changes everything. Because the moment they realize you won't sacrifice yourself for their comfort is the moment the power imbalance dissolves. They came back expecting access. What they encounter instead is self-respect. And that's the difference between history repeating and history ending. What hurts the most isn't that they left, it's that they left without understanding what they were walking away from, and you were left to carry the weight of that confusion alone. You questioned your worth in the quiet. You replayed moments searching for mistakes that were never yours to fix. And somewhere along the way, you learned to survive without the answers you deserved. That survival didn't make you cold. It made you conscious. You didn't harden, you awakened. When they return on Valentine's Day, it feels surreal, like time bending backward, like an old wound suddenly remembering how to speak. But their return doesn't erase the nights you cried in silence. It doesn't undo the work you did to rebuild yourself when no one was watching, and it doesn't automatically mean growth, clarity, or readiness. Sometimes it only means that the distance they relied on finally collapsed under its own weight. This is the moment where everything changes, not because of what they do, but because of who you've become. You're no longer searching for validation, their attention. You're no longer confusing intensity with intimacy. You understand now that love isn't proven by return. It's proven by consistency. And the version of you listening to this no longer negotiates with uncertainty. You recognize it, and you walk away from it with dignity. If they come back, it doesn't mean you failed to move on. It means you outgrew the role they assigned you. It means your absence taught a lesson your presence never could. But their realization is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to honor the self you became while they were gone, the self that learned to stand without leaning, to feel without collapsing, and to love without disappearing. So whatever happens next, remember this. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you claim the moment you stop shrinking to make someone else feel safe. You were never too much. You were imply asking the wrong person to stay. And now you don't wait to be chosen. You choose yourself. Fully, finally, and without apology. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Thank you for giving yourself the space to feel something real in a world that rushes healing. If this message resonated with you, it's because you're not broken. You're becoming aware. If you're on a journey of healing, growth, and emotional clarity, make sure you stay connected. More stories, more truth, and more perspective are coming. Until next time, protect your heart, honor your growth, and never abandon yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Goodbye.